Hello and welcome back to Altcoin Buzz. It's me, Jimbo. For today's Monday market update, we're going to take our eyes over Bitcoin and have a look at a critical support resistance zone which is forming at the moment, which I think is going to dictate the next big move in the market. We're going to glance our eyes over Ethereum and see if we can determine just how low can this go. We will also be updating our DJI charts that we were looking at on Wednesday. And finally, we're going to dive into the silver chart because boy, has that had an interesting day. Before we get started, if you want a chance to win the crypto tag Zeus in our weekly giveaway, make sure that you subscribe to the channel and make sure to leave a comment down below. The draw is on Saturday. So here we are on the weekly chart for Bitcoin, and I just want to show you guys this potential rock and hard place resistance support area we've got forming here. I've got a feeling this is going to be really critical when trying to determine what Bitcoin's next big move is going to be. And here you go, you can see we've got the weekly candle that started today, and we closed in the previous weekly candle, closed above our long-term support line, but we closed below the 200 weekly moving average, which is not something we like to see. And the only other time I can find this on the Bitstamp chart is all the way back in 2015, and it was just a tiny little, almost reversal doji candle in comparison to this big red wick. So really interesting to see how this plays out. I've got a feeling that the break of either way of this is going to determine our next big move, and I'll just cap that by saying a couple of little targets. If we're to break down through this support line with significant volume, then I would anticipate that we go on to test the 3,850 low set on this previous wick, and any break of that we'll be really looking for support above the 3,000 level, because below that we know things start getting a little bit murky for a while, and I really would prefer not to see Bitcoin below $3,000, but we also have to add that it would be a hell of a buying opportunity in the long run if we did. So I think that's really important to keep an eye on that. And we'll just quickly go down and have a look at the daily, and I'll show you how well the daily chart has respected this trend line that we identified. We are yet to see a daily close below the trend line. So I've quickly jumped on down here to the 1 hour chart, and the reason that I've done that is because I wanted to identify for you guys this potential symmetrical triangle pattern that you can see we've got forming here. Here's our support and resistance line for it. If you guys don't know this, a symmetrical triangle is considered a continuation pattern, and because we've entered it on the downside, in normal market conditions we would suggest we're going to exit it on the downside. But I won't be trading on that fact alone. As I said to you before, I wait for breakouts personally, and my breakout here would be a significant cross of this support or a significant cross of this resistance. Break the resistance, and I'm looking at a target around the 6,500 level. Maybe it might be a little bit lower than that if we see our 200 moving average here on the hourly start to flatten out. Maybe I'll be looking at that as a good take profit for a trade of that position. Or if we're to break the downside, then we're looking towards that 3,800 level where we set our previous low. And as I've said previously, that would very likely coincide with a daily close below our support line, and therefore we might be looking at more significant sell-off in the coming days and weeks. But fingers crossed, we're going to respect this support line and stay above. Why don't you let me know in the comments down below which way you think this is going to break? Is this support that we've been watching be well respected going to hold, or are we going to break down and see Bitcoin go beyond to test 3,000 and below? Next up, we find ourselves on the Ethereum 3-day chart, Ethereum US dollars, and I wanted to show you some potential levels of interest below us. These are formulated from back in 2017 and a drop down back in earlier in 2018, late 2018, where we hit our bottom. Now look, we are right testing. We have literally tested just above our bottom from 2018 here on Ethereum. The low that Bitfinex is showing is down at $90. Now, the reason I brought this chart over is because, yes, as you can see, we are below that 200 moving average here on the 3-day, and I believe once it loads for us, we're also below that 50 exponential moving average as well. Actually, they're converging quite interestingly there, but we are below both. Now, the key reason I brought this up today is because we are really close to potentially testing these areas once again. we're going to really need to see the markets bounce for us to protect and hold this support zone. At the moment it looks not too great, but there's just a couple of entry points here potentially if we were to break down. We've got we've got a worst case scenario down here all the way down at $30. I don't expect that that's going to realistically be hit, but wow, what a buying opportunity that would be if it was. But we've also got quite a significant support here potentially to hold at 60, and then also one to watch at 80, which is the one we've become close to testing in the last couple of days. We did get down to 85, around about $85 in that, somewhere in that range. Let's have a look here. So maybe a bit higher, about 88. But we have got pretty close, dangerously close to testing that, and it'll be interesting to see if any of these buying opportunities come into play, because I'll certainly be paying attention for these areas as points of interest. Next up, we will quickly cast our eyes over the DJI. Okay, so here we are on the Dow Jones one day, and if you watched our video over the weekend, we were having a look at this lovely big green candle here. This was just after the Fed announced the printing of the extra 500 billion. I'm hearing varying reports on that, 500 billion to 1.5 trillion cash injection into the markets. That was when we saw this meteoric rise. We had the Trump from tweet about the biggest rise in stock market history on the day, and we were questioning just how likely it was to be sustained with this huge resistance in front of us. And we have been entirely rejected on this bloody Monday. 12.9% down today, and we have completely disregarded both of these supports now, which means that we have to start zooming out for a support, the next support line, to see where our next area of interest is. And I think when I was looking at the charts previously, the next area of interest for me was at that 18,500 level, 19,000, sorry, 650. Here you can see I've put it in place. This is my next area of interest. Just to put this into perspective, this support line that we're looking to potentially see some reprisal from is only 2.6% away. We have dropped 12.9% on the Dow Jones today alone. The chances of this holding tomorrow do not seem very large, but remember, I'm not a financial advisor, nor am I giving you financial advice. I'm just looking at the charts. I'm just a dude on YouTube, just calling it how I see it. Just remember that, please. But this line really would like to hold for the health of the Dow Jones at the moment. I mean, just to put this into perspective, what's going on in the markets right now, we take our 2016 January the 5th low that we had here and put it up to the top. We've seen a market increase of 90% in just over 4 years, and in the space of about a week and a half or 2 weeks, we've seen 31% rejection from that high. This is, we are seeing these numbers, we're seeing this rise just get absolutely obliterated as if it was never even there, and we really want to see that support hold. I would suggest that the most critical area is going to be this one here, about there. I'm going to suggest that that's my most critical one, because I can see that we had huge volume in that box, and when we finally did break through it, that's when this really started to kick up. So I would say that's the most critical there at 18,700-ish. We can always readjust that as we get closer to that figure, if we get closer to that figure. But 19,660, 19,650, fast approaching. What a red day for the Dow Jones Index. Speaking of Red Mondays, I wanted to bring this to your attention also, just to let you guys know that Bitcoin is not the only asset which is suffering. Gold has seen some downturn today, but this is the chart I really wanted to share with you for your reference, and that is CFDs on silver. Silver absolutely plummeting today. We are currently 13.5% down on opening. But if we take our opening and look at the bottom of this wick, we've seen a 20% drawdown on silver today. This is unprecedented. I cannot remember seeing candles like this really for as long as I've been trading. That's not to say that they haven't happened. I just can't remember them. You can see that there was quite a large volatility candle. You do get a couple of them. Back here in 2012 and 2011, you can see we had some large candles to the downside, but this is certainly got to be as equal to some of the most extreme we've seen there. And as you can see, now this is looking a little bit more significant here, just displaying this on the 3-day chart. If we put this long-term support line in, you can see that silver, sorry about that, bit of a strange one. Silver has broken on this current 3-day candle this significant support area, and now we've got to wonder just how low will silver go to. I think our save our soul support, which is a term I like to use in times like this, we put that line in there at 8.3 at $8.30. We really want to see this hold, and I know that's a long way away, but we have seen a 20% candle today, so we have to think in terms of these big moves, and it's unbelievable because this is usually how I'm charting for altcoins, but we're looking at a breakdown there which is 35% lower, so we have still got quite a long way to go before we see this support come into play. But just be aware, by breaking this support at $13.5, we could potentially be on our way down there. Certainly something to be keeping your eye on. And just to close up today, I want to show you one chart which actually is giving us a little bit of a bullish signal. And of course, I know this is a chart you're already familiar with, the Google Trends Bitcoin search term chart. And as you can see, we are currently moving upwards, on our way up to testing this high set back in last year. This is when Bitcoin hit our 14,000 price target. Now let's see if we can get up and push on beyond that. Now I wonder if this is an uptick in people trying to search the internet to see if Bitcoin can be an alternative whilst the markets are crashing. Really hard to tell, but if that is a leading indicator of people's interest in Bitcoin over time increasing based on market uncertainty, then that could be a really nice sign for Bitcoin in the long run, and could even be potentially a leading indicator to suggest that over the next course of months or years, we may start to see Bitcoin detach itself from the everyday movements of the stock market that we're seeing is so well correlated right now in these times of uncertainty. If you've enjoyed the content today, please slap a like on the video, and if you want a chance to win that Crypto Tag Zeus starter kit, make sure to leave a comment down below and be subscribed to the channel, and that draw will be taking place on Saturday. I myself will be back with another market update on Wednesday, so until then guys, bye. And of course, I know this is a chart you're already familiar with, the Google Trends Bitcoin search term chart. And as you can see, we are currently moving upwards, on our way up to testing this high set back in last year. This is when Bitcoin hit our 14,000 price target. Now let's see if we can get up and push on beyond that. Now I wonder if this is an uptick in people trying to search the internet to see if Bitcoin can be an alternative whilst the markets are crashing. Really hard to tell, but if that is a leading indicator of people's interest in Bitcoin over time increasing based on market uncertainty, then that could be a really nice sign for Bitcoin in the long run, and could even be potentially a leading indicator to suggest that over the next course of months or years, we may start to see Bitcoin detach itself from the everyday movements of the stock market that we're seeing is so well correlated right now in these times of uncertainty. If you've enjoyed the content today, please slap a like on the video, and if you want a chance to win that Crypto Tag Zeus starter kit, make sure to leave a comment down below and be subscribed to the channel, and that draw will be taking place on Saturday. I myself will be back with another market update on Wednesday, so until then guys, bye.